What's going on, everyone? I'm your host, Tramel Thompson, and welcome to another episode of Where is the Lie? Now, this one is going to be a little different because I want to educate you guys on other business that the union have their hands in. And we going to start with, did you guys know that the union represent the bosses of represent the drivers of the horse carriages that you see throughout the city in Central Park and things of that nature? Did you know that? Now, the significance of this video in particular, I want to show you guys when the union administration represent the bosses, whether it's New York City Transit or the bosses with these horse carriage stables, someone suffers, right? So when they represent the boss's best interest in New York City Transit, the workers suffer. When a union administration represent the owners of these horse carriages and these stables, the drivers of the horse carriages suffer, and so does the horses themselves. Now, if you're an animal lover, this video may disturb you because I want to show you some actual footage of what these horses look like when the union's supposed to have their best interests. Now, before I even get into that, we just had a whole contract negotiation. I wouldn't even call it fight. I think it's more theatrics than anything, right? Would you believe the union these past 2 years talked more about the horses and them defending the health of the horses, because them defending the health of the horses is really protecting the owners of the horses in the stables and, get into animal cruelty and things of that nature. But just imagine that your union dues is being paid to fight animal rights activists, in which they are right, for the union to protect the owners of these stables. Let's look at the conditions of some of these horses. Check it out. Now, do you guys remember a horse named Ryder that collapsed in the middle of the street and was taken to a farm to get better but end up dying? This was the condition of that horse when it collapsed. So as you can see, when our union administration sides with the bosses, whether in New York City Transit or of the horse carriage industry, somebody suffers. Here we see a horse suffering. In New York City Transit, we see actual workers suffering. Now, if you look at this video right here, you don't have to be a person that know about animals. You don't have to be an expert in this area. But just by looking at this video and this horse pulling the carriage in the park, you can tell that something is wrong there. You could tell that horse looks tired, dehydrated, or something. Now, the next scam or sleight of hand that the union like to pull is that, they say we representing the drivers, and the drivers are mostly immigrants, and they love to post a black face like what we see right here. But what they fail to mention is that some of these drivers of these horses are also the bosses of the stables. I don't know if y'all remember before, I talked about a guy named Carl McKeever. Let's dive into his history a little bit to show you what the union and who the union is really protecting. Check it out. So Carl McKeever is a carriage horse driver who is actually honored by Local 100 administration. You see Samuelson to the left, you see Utano to the right. Now, like I said, they try to paint this picture as, these are immigrants. But Carl McKeever is actually a real estate agent who's doing quite well for himself. So the lies that they trying to sell, saying, these are immigrants, they not making no money, that's BS. They are lying. This is evidence that they are protecting the bosses and leaving the real drivers of the carriages and the horses themselves out to dry. Now, I want to make a comparison. We just had contract negotiations. I wouldn't even call it a fight. It was not that. It was far away from a fight. Specifically speaking on our union administration side. These past 2-3 years, you know what the union has been pushing and protecting? The abuse of animals. And they do that not by representing the drivers like they claim to be doing, but they actually representing the bosses of the horse carriage stables, right? These past 2 years, if you go to the union Twitter and just type in horses, you will see a whole line of tweets regarding these horses. Now do the same thing. Type in members, type in assaults, type in discrimination, type in discipline. It does not add up to the number of tweets about these horses. And they are fake caring about these horses. This is not about the horses. This is about protecting the bosses of the horse carriage stables. That's all that this is about. And like I said, what's ironic about it is we see the same thing happen in the New York City Transit. They side with the bosses, the members suffer. They side with the bosses of the horse carriages, the drivers of the horse carriages, and the animals suffer. And the animals do not have a voice, but we have to be the voice for the animals because they treat us like animals too. Now let's get into this next clip to explain what else is going on. So we have a tweet from Pete Donahue. For those who don't know who Pete Donahue is, he is the union spokesman. He says Cooper was brought to our attention early this week by a few drivers. He was evaluated by a vet and directed to rest for 2 weeks and then get another medical assessment. All horses go lame at some point. Owners must address it. Reported concerns are taken seriously and acted upon. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you, that's some straight BS, right? The same thing that they practice on the New York City Transit side, they obviously practicing on the horse side. What fight do they put up when we injured? There's no fight back against workers' comp. Managers financially force us back to work. They do the same thing with those horses. Yes, it is true. All horses do go lame at some point. I mean, they get injured some point in their lifetime. The difference is that the union is making sure or ensuring or ignoring the fact that these horses are going out there injured, right? The same way they ignore the fact how the MTA force us back financially hurt from comp to go out there and do our duties. See how these issues are aligning with one another? They don't care about the humans. They do not care about the animals. But there's more. Let's get to the next clip. So it seems as if the union has a whistleblower in their hands. And he says, so take older horses that have already done their time and been injured, buy them cheap and stick them on the streets in pain to pull a carriage, rather than rescue them, find them a loving home on grass free to roam, or adopt or support their happy retirement from all of that. Now, all of us cannot be wrong. We got whistleblowers on the New York City Transit side, and there's whistleblowers over there in the horse carriage industry regarding the treatment of these horses. Now, it's very important that we see the behavior of how this administration is acting, right? They siding with the bosses industry-wide. Wherever they represent, they side with the bosses. And when they side with the bosses, somebody suffers. On the New York City Transit side, it's us, the humans. In the horse carriage industry side, it's the horses. And we see the similarities on how we're being treated. And we're being treated like animals. And I just want to ask y'all, where is the lie? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe this video. More to come. Catch you guys later.